Good. All right. Okay, so I'll go through this one both ways, just so you guys can see what's going on, and then in the future I'm just going to do one or the other, and you got to trust that it works out to be the same. So once you have that middle term, like Jacob said, broken down into x and 12x, now you just factor these two pieces separately. So what can I take out of 12x squared and x?
X.
Right, they each have an x in them, so I will take an x out of each one. When I take an x out of 2x squared, what am I left with?
X.
2x. When I take an x out of x, what am I left with?
1.
1, not nothing, 1. I need a 1 there so that when I go x times 1, I get x again, okay? Plus, what can I take out of a 12x and a 6? They both have our 6 goes into both of them. 6 times what makes 12x? 2x. Plus 6 times what is 6? 1. And notice now I know that I did this correctly because I've got 2x plus 1 here and I've got 2x plus 1 here. So that's part of my answer, 2x plus 1. Hold on a sec. The other part of my answer is what's left over, x plus 6. Doesn't matter if you write this as 2x plus 1 times x plus 6 or if you write it as x plus 6 times 2x plus 1. Allie?
You want me to do it a different way?
I did, instead of having the x with the 2, I did the 12 with the 2.
Yeah,
but
so
I
you
ended
did
up with
this.
the same answer.
Okay, well, so let me show you what you should have done then over here. Okay, Nate? That's your question also? Okay, so if I'm looking at 2x squared and 12x, what can I take out of both of them? A 2, because 2 goes into them both evenly, and I can take out an x, right? So if I take 2x out of 2x squared, what's left? X. And if I take 2x out of 12x, what's left? 6. Okay? And then what can I take out of those two things? 1. And what's left? X plus 6. So what's inside the parentheses? And then what's outside the parentheses? Same thing as over there. Okay? All right? Nate, did you see what you did wrong? What did you do wrong?
No, I didn't do anything wrong.
Oh, good.
Switched the
Graham, pay attention. What?
I just switched the two things up.
Okay, but it still worked out the same. Right. Yes?
Doesn't matter which way you put them.
No, because multiplication works same way no matter what the order is, right? 2
Right.
times 3, 3 times 2, same thing. All right. Okay, number 9. Is this the one? No. Yeah, some of them were a little bit tricky. Allie was freaking me out yesterday. Okay, first step though is to what?
Multiply the 3 and 14.
Multiply the 3 and the 14, and that gives me 42. So I'm looking for two numbers that multiply together to be 42 and add together to be 23. What are they?
21 and 2.
21 times 2 is 42, and 21 plus 2 is 23. So that lets me break this one down into 21D and 2D, like Jacob said.
Should like use that like teach like
Break down. Okay, so now if I look at these two terms right here, 3D squared plus 21D, what can I factor out of both of those?
3.
A 3, because 3 goes into both 3 and 21 evenly. And a D, because they both have a D. Yeah, so 3D, coming at you. So 3D times what is 3D squared? D. And 3D times what is 21D? 7. What can I factor out of 2D and 14? 2. We're number 2. We're number 2. What am I going to be left with? D plus 7. 2D times 2 times D is 2D, and 2 times 7 is 14. Okay? So, the two pieces to my answer are 3D plus 2 and D plus 7. And these are great problems to do, because you should know if you did something wrong, because if you did something wrong, this and this won't match up. Okay? All right, keep going.
Sure.
Okay, number 10. Now we've got a negative in there, so that makes things a little bit more complicated.
Like how complicated?
Not much. Okay, what? Wrong.
No, wait, no.
What is it?
5.
12. Multiply these two numbers together. 4 times 3 is 12. So now the tricky part is I need two numbers that add together to be 12, but they're going to subtract. No, they're not. I guess they're both to be negative. Okay, so two numbers that add together to be or multiply together to be 12 and add to be negative 8. Yes.
6 and 2.
Wrong.
Right, negative 6 and negative 2, because a negative times a negative is a positive. So negative 6 times negative 2 is 12, and a negative 6 plus a negative 2 will give me negative 8. So now I can break the negative 8 down into negative 6n minus 2n plus 3. Okay. What can I factor out of these first two terms? A 2 and an n. 2n times what is 4n squared? 2n. I need a 2 because 2 times 2 is 4, and I need an n because n times n is n squared. Minus 2n times what is 6n? Negative 3, yeah. Okay? And then this is probably where Dylan, this becomes a little bit tricky, because what can I factor out of these two things? I'm going to take out a negative 1, okay? Which is kind of a weird thing to do, but if I take out a negative 1 times what is negative 2n?
2n.
Positive 2n. And then negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. So
That's a
I can't
negative.
just take out negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3.
Oh,
yeah.
gotcha.
So I can't just take out a 1, because if I take out a 1, then they won't match, because I would have negative 2n plus 3. So I have to take out a negative 1 to switch the sign so that it works. So, final answer?
This is so difficult.
2n minus 1. 2n minus.
Okay? Here's the 2n, and here's the minus 1. I did. 2n minus 3, 2n minus 3. So I'm using them both. Okay?
So if there's 2 more people
Yep. Because they're both the same, so I'm just going to. And you know what, Jolena? They will always come out to be the same. Yep. If they don't, then you did something wrong. If they don't come out to be the same, you did it wrong. So they have to come out to be the same. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, first step is to
Multiply.
multiply them together, and you get 12. Okay, 4 times 3 is 12. First number times last number is 12. So then I need to come up with two numbers that multiply together to be 12 and add to be 7, and that is 4 and 3. So I'm going to rewrite this as 4p squared plus 4p plus 3p plus 3. Same game as before. Take a look at the first two terms. What can I factor out of both of them? A 4 and a p. And if I take a 4p out of 4p squared, what's left? A p. And if I take a 4p out of 4p, then I have 1. I need something, because if I don't have anything, then when I multiplied this back through, then I would just get the 4p squared, and I would be missing the 4p. So I need to have that 1 in there to make sure that works out. Okay? What can I factor out of 3p and 3? 3.
Oh my god, this is so hard.
3 times what is 3p? P. 3 times what is 3? 1. Okay? So Jolena, as promised, the thing inside the parentheses matches. So my answer is going to be the number in front of the first parentheses and the number in front of the second times the number in parentheses. You got it? Okay, I'm just gonna do like 2 more.
2 more.
Yep, just 2 more.
Just
So you guys get it.
No, no.
Sure, I'll do 14.
Then we just how to work on it. Because we didn't fully understand it.
So you fully understood it.
Can we work on it during class?
All right. 14 is a good one to do because what's different about the number on the end this time?
It's a negative.
It's a negative. Cheyenne? Okay, it's a negative, and I have to keep that in mind when I multiply the first number and the last number. So when I go 5 times negative 4, I don't get 20, I get negative 20. So I need 2 numbers that are going to multiply together to be negative 20 and add to be 19. So if I'm going to get 2 numbers that multiply together to be a negative number, what has to be true about the 2 numbers? One is negative and one is positive. Okay, so in this case, what are my 2 numbers? 20 and negative 1. Very good, because 20 times negative 1 is negative 20, and 20 plus negative 1 is 19. Okay, so that means we can break down the 19z into 20z minus z, and then we still have the 5z squared and the minus 4. Okay? So when there's a negative number at the end, you have to take that into account when you're figuring out the problem. All right, so now if I take a look at the first 2 terms, what can I get out of 5z squared and 20z? A 5 and a z. 5z times what is 5z squared? Z. And 5z times what is 20z? 4. Okay, good. Now with the negative z and the minus 4, what do I want to pull out? A negative 1. Jacob, negative 1 times what is negative z? Nice. And negative 1 times what is negative 4? 4. What?
4 z.
It's a minus 1.
No, I'm in the same. Why do you put that line?
Oh, so you don't get confused between a z and a 2. Okay, so what's my final answer?
5z minus 1.
5z minus 1
Z plus 4.
I can see how it gets confused.
and z plus 1.
What's lower? 0.
Just kidding. Z or 2?
One on the left is z.
They both look like 2s.
No, there's no reason for me to do the whole sign.
I'll finish it.
Astrology. We've got O's and zeros.
We don't really use O's.
Could you?
Yeah, you can use any letter you want as a variable, but I wouldn't recommend it.
You like hamburgers?
Yeah, but the whole reason to use a variable is to save yourself some time. So you could say 2 hamburgers squared minus 13 hamburgers minus 24, but what's the point of
I
that?
like hamburgers.
I like hamburgers too. I like cheeseburgers better. All right, so if I multiply these 2 things together, I get close, negative 48. So I need 2 numbers to multiply together to be negative 48 and add to be negative 13. What are they?
Negative 6.
Nice. Negative 16 and 3. So some of these are hard to come up with. If you have a hard time figuring out what the numbers should be, ask Allie or ask Nate. They are the factoring champions of the... Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so then let's rewrite this as 2k squared minus 16k plus 3k minus 24. Okay? Now if I look at these first 2 terms, what can I factor out of there? 2 and a k. Okay. Which leaves me k minus 8 on the inside. What can I factor out of these 2 terms?
3.
3 and And that leaves me a k and a
24, negative.
minus 8.
Okay, what? I'm confused.
Because 3 times 8 is 24.
Okay.
So now we're ready, Reed, for final answer? What do you got, Reed?
2k plus 3, and then k minus.
All right. So, yes, I will give you a couple minutes to finish up the ones that you couldn't get some help from somebody who knows what they're doing. But let's do that and then turn them in.